The RTA gathers local retailers regularly for the seminar with the aim of bringing them up to date with developments in their industry and offering them advice on vital issues. Of those, stealing is always a major concern. As a result, two local police officers, Detective Sergeant Brian Nielsen and Senior Constable Bob Colley, coordinator of the successful New Business Watch program, were invited to speak today. They covered such issues as credit card fraud, burglary and security systems, all vital in a business community, Senior Constable Colley says, is falling prey to theft far more often than it should.
At Newcastle here, sometime I give some figures back, roughly sometimes 20 to 30 per week are coming out of just the Newcastle police patrol as it is in charge with stealing. It's something which is costing all the consumers lots of money, into the millions of dollars per year, and it's something that the police have gone into trying to stop or at least cull down that particular type of crime.
But while Newcastle police are getting out in the community and tackling the problem with Business Watch and talks like today, Senior Constable Colley says prevention is far better than cure, and the real job of cleaning up theft in Newcastle lies with the retailers themselves.
What we're asking for is that everybody concerned in the retail game, that they look and observe and see what's going on and take the little prevention methods that may just stop some of the stealing and therefore be able to give a better service to the consumer that buys the goods.
Gordon Pacific's $500 million Caves Beach resort is moving closer to reality. 2 golf courses and a marina complex have been approved, with development applications for both an oceanfront and a lakefront hotel still in the pipeline. The marina complex attracted a long list of criticisms from both public authorities and private citizens. Concerns like the destruction of seagrass, problems regarding sewerage and a reduction of open foreshores. However, a planning report presented to Council last night set out to answer the concerns. Clearly, Lake Macquarie Council is satisfied the issues can be resolved, with approval given quickly and quietly. Gordon Pacific Managing Director Noel Gordon says work on the marina complex will begin in around 18 months' time. Leslie Robinson, NBN News.
From the outside, Raymond Terrace Public on a large leafy block seems the perfect school. But on closer inspection, peeling paint and rusted gutters show a picture of serious neglect. Just recently, a boy tore his leg needing 7 stitches when he tripped and fell on uneven flooring boards. Now the school has been forced to rope areas off. What sort of state is the school in now?
Deplorable. Matter of fact, you could actually say it's dangerous. We've already had one accident at the school and we'd hate to see anything major happen again.
Regional Director of Education in the Hunter, Alan Beard, says any question of safety will be immediately looked into. However, the overall upgrading of the school, including the merger of the primary and infants departments, has been held off for another year due to a shortage of money.
Had to be delayed for effectively 1 financial year because of overruns on other jobs.
Parents of students at the school say they've waited long enough, with the building literally falling apart. The department says it has to work with a list of priorities. It says already in the last 2 years, $16 million has been set down for maintenance.
Many of our schools are looking better than they ever have, and Raymond Terrace will join that group in the not too far distant future.
Maybe they've got their priorities wrong. We see the priority in education as the welfare of our children. And if you look around the school, which you have done today, you will notice and you will be deplored with the state of the conditions that our children have had to put up with in the last 3 years.
Rail traffic along the east coast of New South Wales came to a shuddering halt this afternoon when the 9 goods wagons rolled without warning in the middle of Gosford station. It's believed the trouble began here with this buckled rail. The instability in the rail then sent the bogies toppling like a domino effect. As the carriages rolled and separated, a shower of sparks and debris flew into the air, peppering the area with pieces of steel and bolts. As the wagons dragged along the track, hundreds of metres of sleepers were ripped up along with ballast. The Sydney-bound train destroyed not only its line, but an adjoining carriageway serving both Sydney and Newcastle trains. The driver of the train was unaware of the damage and havoc behind him until a worker in a signal box called him on the two-way system to stop. Nobody was injured in the accident, but concerns were raised that the train could have easily mounted the crowded platform, killing up to 100 bystanders. One eyewitness says he got the fright of his life as a great cloud of dust and a deafening noise engulfed the station.
The train was coming through and all of a sudden we heard a loud noise and looked over and the carriages were leaning over to one side.
Tonight, buses are ferrying Gosford's 10,000 commuters home. Newcastle to Sydney services are suffering only slight delays. It's expected repair work on the track will stretch well into next week. Darren Curtis for NBN News. Operation Long Haul began yesterday and saw 50 truck drivers slapped with fines, each averaging $100. Today, police continued their operation at Arimba, pulling in 200 trucks in just 6 hours. One truck travelling from Brisbane to Sydney carrying a load of concrete pipes was defected completely on the spot.
This is a vehicle travelling from Brisbane to Melbourne this morning. It's been stopped in this operation. And by looking at it, you can see the tyres on the vehicle. The first thing we observed was the smooth tyres. Also, as you move up the vehicle, tyres have splits, tread is lifting from them. The mechanical inspectors have already checked the brakes on this vehicle and has revealed that brake drums are cracked on the trailer. It has no rear brakes on the rear axle of the trailer. Moving up to the drive axles of the vehicle, on inspection was found it had further smooth tyres. Also, the inner tyre is deflated of all air. Up onto this axle here, on further inspection was found the brakes were inoperative on this axle completely. There's no brakes whatsoever working on it. The further inspection on this vehicle revealed that there is large amounts of oil leaking from the engine, has fuel leaks, has exhaust leaks. We are now going to have a look at the steering on this vehicle, and on close inspection it can be found that there is considerable movement in the steering wheel, and it was found that the steering box was moving 12 millimetres on the chassis rails. And because of this, the vehicle has been issued with a red label and will not be allowed to be removed from this area until such time as repairs have been effected. Also, the driver involved has been issued with infringement notices for all these offences that he's committed.
Sergeant Vic Rogers says it's trucks like this interstater that are giving the trucking industry a bad name and claiming lives.
I would rate this vehicle as a death trap on the road to other road users. I would say that by looking at this operation that we've done so far, I'd say at least 10% of heavy vehicles would be still in this category on our roads today.
Workers had a lucky escape when a 60-metre crane fell across a construction yard and conveyor belt at Munmorah Power Station. A loss of hydraulic power is being blamed for the accident.
Meanwhile, in the Hunter, 4,000 teachers met at 29 different venues for half-day stop-work meetings. At Newcastle Workers Club, the teachers unanimously rejected Dr Metherell's pay package, saying they were not prepared to accept trade-offs for extra wages. The response was the same at all meetings. Teachers will again stop work for a half day on the 29th of November and the 11th of December, furthering their campaign against the offer, which the union says marks a backward step in negotiations.
Dr Metherell's offer is a slap in the face for teachers because it just puts back onto the negotiation table essentially the same package that we rejected on the 26th of October.
After the meeting, teachers went back to work, but a poll of schools in the area showed most students decided to take the whole day off. This afternoon, a good surf and bright sunshine guaranteed large crowds of young people on local beaches. Shouldn't you be at school?
Yes.
Well, why aren't you?
Oh, it's too late in the day, not really worth going back. Miss out too much already.
By the time you go to school, it's half day, and then you only got 2 periods left in the afternoon, 2 or 3, it's a waste of time going.
Better come down for a surf.
Yeah.
Speculation that police were about to make a move intensified late yesterday. Shortly after 7 p.m, detectives took 3 people to Newcastle Police Station for questioning. Expectant media were anticipating an arrest yesterday evening. However, it wasn't until some hours later that police did make their move. And early this morning they announced that they had charged 2 adults and a juvenile.
Well, this evening 2 Stockton men, an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, have been arrested and have been charged with the assault of the deceased. One of those men has been charged also with supplying Indian hemp. A 15-year-old Stockton juvenile has also been charged with the sexual assault of the deceased and also in relation to supplying cannabis.
Were all these people at the party on that night?
Yes.
The 2 adults were held overnight at Newcastle Police Station. The 15-year-old juvenile was released into the custody of his parents early this morning. Later, amid intense media interest, the 2 men appeared at Newcastle Court. Unemployed 18-year-old Matthew Grant Webster of Stockton was charged with assault. Guy Charles Wilson, 19, also unemployed of Stockton, was charged with assault and supply cannabis. Both emerged to a barrage of local and metropolitan news coverage, the scene quickly deteriorating into an angry scuffle, with camera crews from the ABC and Channel 7 jostling with friends of the accused as they left the courthouse. Neither Wilson nor Webster were legally represented at today's appearance. Magistrate Col Elliott granted bail to both men on a surety of $1,000 and a condition that they report daily to the officer in charge of Newcastle Police Station until they reappear for mention at Newcastle Local Court on December the 14th. A 15-year-old juvenile was released on unconditional bail to appear at Warramai Children's Court in December on charges of sexual assault and supply cannabis. Meanwhile, detectives continued the search for Lee's killers. The remorseless round of questioning went on this evening as police narrowed down suspects at the beach party. Detectives say they do plan to lay more charges.
The 13 final year drawing certificate students from Cessnock TAFE today put their major works back up on the wall. As part of the syllabus, the students were required to draw or paint human figures. The finished products have aroused a lot of attention, some of which the students feel is unnecessary. A small group of people led by Pastor Wallace of the Fourth Square Gospel Church demanded the paintings be taken down, claiming they were pornographic and should not be displayed in an area open to children. Do you think children would find it offensive?
No, the children walk through here and take absolutely no notice of it at all. I stood here for 3/4 of an hour one day and watched them come through, and they just walk through. They don't even look.
They don't care. They really don't.
And honestly, they can see worse in newspapers and on the television and on video and things like that.
Yesterday, the library removed the paintings. However, the artists weren't going to let the matter rest there. They gained permission from council to go ahead with the exhibition. The artists, who are aged between 35 and 72, acknowledge the right to free expression, but believe the paintings should never have been taken down.
Yes.
So were you surprised when they were actually taken down?
Yeah, yes, completely, because there's nothing wrong with them. They were termed pornographic, and there's just nothing wrong with them. They're not pornographic.
Father David Simpson of the Anglican Church believes art should not be censored.
No, I don't think they should ever have been taken down. I think the library is a public place. I think it was a good forum for the paintings to be hung.
If the paintings weren't rehung in the library this morning, Father Simpson had volunteered his church to display the works. Jodie McKay for NBN News.
Coastal Craze has been operating for 7 years out of their Kincumber factory. Crayfish are bought direct from Tasmanian fishermen and normally packed live in sawdust before being flown to Sydney, then stabilised in saltwater tanks at Kincumber. After a 3-day settling in period, the crays are chilled to 7 degrees to lower their body metabolism, then packed live for export to Asia. The crays are not directly exported from Tasmania due to the lack of international flights from there. Coastal Craze manager Ross Johnson says the dispute has forced him to charter a plane to fly the crays in at a cost of $15,000 a week.
We have gone to that extent to try and get the product from Tasmania up here. It is an expensive operation, as you could well imagine. But I think anybody that's involved in the industry, as I say, realises the importance of getting this product and moving it quickly.
Mr Johnson says the industry brings at least $30,000 a year in export profit to the country. However, he says despite the increasing demand for Australian seafood, he may have to close down a viable export industry.
While I'd hate to say that I would, I've lived here for a considerable number of years and committed to the Central Coast, but I can't see any alternative if there is no suitable arrangement to help me within the industry that I'm dedicated to.
Mr Johnson says if the situation doesn't improve by January, Coastal Craze will have to close its doors for good. Darren Curtis for NBN News. The New South Wales Rental Bond Board has released its annual report and highlighted statistics showing rents stabilising in Sydney, while those in Newcastle have risen by 4% alone in the past 12 months. The rent paid for a 2-bedroom house has increased on average by $25 since September last year. Chairman of the Newcastle branch of the New South Wales Real Estate Institute, Noel McFarlane, says the increase was inevitable but certainly not unreasonable. He claims when rents are looked at in their true perspective, since 1986, they have only increased by $1 a month, not out of line with CPI and wage increases.
It was a painful start to the 8-event program for Thompson as his Mount Isle of Palm, closest to the rails, decided that it was too hot at Cessnock for a jockey and promptly unloaded the top hoop. But the tenacity and brilliance of Thompson shone through as he steered Splendid Spirit to victory in the feature race, the Maitland Cup, over 1,100 metres. It will be a busy 24-hour period for Thompson as he's engaged to ride Newcastle mare Lady Hunderley in the Sandown Cup in Melbourne tomorrow. And Robert likes his chances.
Yes, Mike, I think she'll run very well. I was very happy with her run last week, and Paul Perry said she's done very well this week, so I'm looking for a real good run tomorrow.
NBN tipster Gary Harley also is keen on Lady Hunderley.
Mike, tremendous value at the price this morning, 10-1. Her run in Melbourne last Saturday was tip-top. She was knocked over early in the race, made up a lot of ground in the run home, and with the lighter weight tomorrow, I think she'll be very, very hard to beat. The Cup is race 5. I like her to win. Citizen's run in the Melbourne Cup was very good. He's number 4. I've put him in for second. And Impresetto, who won well at Flemington the other day, I like him for third. In the daily double races 6 and 7, 4 Heavenly Vein and 1 Scalata. The meeting at Rose Hill is good. We see the promising 4-year-old Stayer Aladdin in the first leg of the double race 6, and I think he's the best bet of the day. Number 3 Aladdin to win. Race 7 I like number 10 Babskay. He's promising also. And the trifecta race 6, 3 Aladdin, 7 Mint Machine and 6 Gold Mace. Greyhound racing at Beaumont Park. It's Derby day there tomorrow. First leg race 9, 2 Ritzy Mitzi. Race 10, number 7 Shy Rose. And in the Derby, I like them 2, 1 and 7, Lucky Escape, Maxi Active and Preference. They're pacing tomorrow night at Maitland, a tremendous program there. First leg race 3, number 6 Our Mr. Bye Bye. Second leg race 4, 8 Beau Pronto. And the double or the trifecta on race 2, 1, 9 and 7, 154, 9 Another Band and 7 Overactive.
Western Division was sent in and immediately the Newcastle bowlers were amongst the wickets. Tim Towers ended with the impressive figures of 2 for 16 and Murray Christie, who was later named man of the match, snared 3 for 6. Western crumbled to be all out for the meagre total of 90. The Newcastle batsmen had little trouble overhauling the small total and skipper Greg Arms steered his side to victory with a solid 44 not out. At Belmont Bay, 20 of Newcastle, the Central Coast and Hunter Valley sailboarders were getting in some vital practice for the World Windsurfing Championships on the same stretch of water in January. Greg Beecham, who ran second in the Worlds last year, headed a group that includes exciting youngster David Woods and Lisaroe's World Mistral champion Chris Lawrence. The wind today tested all sailors as they tried their hands at slalom, marathon, triangle sailing and also freestyle. There's the strong possibility that the 1990 World Windsurfing champion may be amongst this group. Let's hope so.
Of those 42,000 drivers breath tested in New South Wales, 465 were charged with drink driving. In the Hunter region, 5,000 drivers were tested, 50 were charged with PCA offences. Police say the number of drivers charged is in line with similar campaigns and are calling Operation Big Blow a success. But it's only the beginning. Over the Christmas-New Year period, police will intensify their crackdown on drink driving, as well as focusing on speeding and the wearing of seatbelts.